Twameva Mata Cha Pita Twameva Twameva Bandhuscha Saka Twameva Twameva Vidya Dravinam Twameva Twameva Sarvam Twameva Deva Twameva Sarvam Shri Sai Dear Swami, who is my mother, my father, my friend, and my only true relative, and my only real wealth, and the very basis of my existence, loving pranams at your lotus feet. Respected elders in the Sai organization, dear brothers and sisters, I've been asked to speak about Bhajan dynamics. This is not the first time that I have been asked to speak about a topic which I believe I am most underqualified to handle. But then whenever an opportunity turns up, I do not say no, because if Swami puts me here, now it is his problem. So if there's anybody worried at this moment, I think it's Swami. It is purely by his will and grace that I stand here today, and there are multiple meanings behind me saying this. Swami knows why I'm saying this. And I'm counting on that will and grace to help me place before you a few thoughts which he has prompted. But before I start talking about Bhajan dynamics, let me take this opportunity to recount a very beautiful incident which happened right in the next compound, in Brindavan. Let me talk about this beautiful episode first. Like all stories, you say once upon a time in Brindavan something happened. A lot of beautiful things have happened. Let me tell you exactly what happened in Brindavan on that day. Swami was out in the lawns, to which we would be going in a short while from now, and where we'll be having bhajans. Swami was standing in that lawn. And behind him was a devotee, a doctor. Swami happened to be near a mango tree. I'm not sure if the tree is still there, but the tree was there at that point of time. He was standing near the mango tree and then looking up at the tree. Nobody knew why. A few minutes later, he turned back to the doctor devotee who was there and requested him to go inside the kitchen in the Brindavan Bangalore and pick up some groundnuts. And come back. Now the doctor knew exactly where the groundnuts was. He went inside, came back with the groundnuts, and then handed over to Swami. Swami picks up the groundnuts in his little palm, and then looks again at the mango tree, and just does this. Just does this. He just gestures. He just like this, as though he's calling down somebody. Now brothers and sisters, what happened after that was most unbelievable. The moment Swami did that, a group of monkeys who were actually seated on the mango tree came running down. Now nobody noticed the monkeys, there Swami had. The monkeys came running down. Swami just tried to do this and the monkeys come running down. The next sight was even more unbelievable. The monkeys stood in a queue before Swami. Can you believe this? The monkeys stand in a queue before Swami. Does that surprise you? Okay, I'll tell you something that surprises you more. Swami holds out his hand, and each monkey comes in a line to accept the prasadam from Swami, the groundnut prasadam from Swami. And Swami is not giving the prasadam to the monkey. Swami is just extending his palm. Each monkey comes picks up the groundnut from Swami's hand and walks. Can you believe this? No. I'll tell you something more surprising. Each monkey comes, picks up exactly one groundnut only and walks away. Who else other than Bhagwan can do it? Now, there's a reason why I thought I would talk about this, because I was supposed to talk about bhajan dynamics, and the moment I heard the word dynamic means something which keeps moving. And to me, the first thing which came to my mind is the mind. The thing which keeps moving is the mind. It always keeps moving. And as long as the mind keeps moving, I think that's when you have all kinds of problems. Now, what kind of problems? Some kind of problems, some of them not related to bhajan, some of them related to bhajan. And the task given to me here is to talk about two such problems. Sometimes we do not feel like coming for bhajans. How do we motivate ourselves to come for bhajans? Two, sometimes we feel like coming for bhajans, but we feel like doing something more than bhajan also. We get into conflicts. I'm not an expert on this topic. I've never been a bhajan convener. So when I was thinking about this, I felt that the mind is the reason for both of this. If I'm disinterested, it's because of the mind, because it's not enchanted with the Lord. And again, if I get into conflicts, it's again because I'm not enchanted with the Lord. Because mind turns towards God, and you're okay. Mind turns towards the world, that's when problems start. So what happened is, when I was trying to prepare for this particular workshop, I had no clue as usual what I would speak. Till a few days ago, there was a breakthrough. Brother Chandrasekhar will vouch for this. I kept him in suspense, not sending the PPT till the last minute. Brother, now I'll tell you, now that I'm standing here, I'll tell you, I did not have a PPT till 2 days before. Now, finally, I kept on getting in my mind a particular thing which Swami kept telling us. I've heard so many times from Swami. Swami says, the mind or the nartaki needs to be controlled through kirtana. Swami says, control nartaki through kirtana. Again, very typical of Swami. He loves to play with words. By nartaki, Swami means the mind. So again, let me tell you why I'm talking about this. I'm talking about this because bhajan dynamics, or the two problems we have, are lack of motivation to come for a bhajan is because the mind is not enchanted with the Lord, as per my understanding. Second, we get into conflicts because the mind is not focused on the Lord. That's when it starts focusing on other things. And that's when conflicts start. Because I remember Swami saying this. Swami once asked us, how do you go away from north? How do you go away from north? We didn't have an answer. And Swami said, you don't have to go away from north. You only have to go towards south. So Swami said, all that you have to do is don't try to get away from these things. No. Just focus your mind on Swami, and automatically the mind becomes your best companion. So then we said, okay, the mind needs to be diverted towards the Lord, it needs to get enchanted with the Lord. How do you get the mind enchanted? How do you control the mind? And then came Swami's words to my mind. I realized Swami had told us so many times, control nartaki through kirtana. Now I had got till there, but then I was stuck again. Okay, what does Swami mean by control nartaki through kirtana? I was supposed to supposedly talk about some prescriptions, so to say, which bhajan singers can go back and follow. Then I said, Swami, you've got me so far, so maybe the answer is in the word kirtana. And the breakthrough came when I counted the number of alphabets in kirtana, and it turns out to be 9 alphabets, as you will notice. And then I said, Swami, divide number. That means you're giving me a clue, and then I decided that this is an acronym, a short form. I said that the answer for controlling the mind, and thus the answer for motivating ourselves to come for bhajans, and thus the answer for not getting into conflicts lies in the word kirtana, or rather the expansion of the word kirtana. And then I said, Swami, let me make an attempt to expand the word kirtana. And then I assumed that kirtana is a short form for a particular full form. What is that we look at? But before that, I need to clarify an important point. Who is this presentation addressed to? I thought about this. Why? Because I knew that bhajan conveners would be here. We are here in our capacity as bhajan conveners. We are here in our capacity as individual bhajan singers, as office bearers. Now, I have never been a bhajan convener. So I said I cannot talk, or I cannot address a group of bhajan conveners. But what I've tried to be is a bhajan singer. I'm still learning to be, trying to be. So I said, yes, I will talk as a bhajan singer to a group of bhajan singers. And that was confirmed in the morning when Sir very beautifully said, he said that transformation is the job of the Lord. So motivating others is the job of the Lord, let me focus on motivating myself. So I must clarify that this presentation is addressed to all of us as individual bhajan singers and not as conveners. So then I started asking myself, what motivates us to attend bhajans? What are the things which will help us stay away from conflicts? And like I said, I felt that the answer lied in the expansion of the word Kirtana. Now what is the first K? Before I tell you the first K, like Swami says, Oka Chinna Katha, a small story. You know, Satya Sai Institute of Higher Learning, Swami is the Chancellor. And before the results are announced, the results are always shown to Swami. Swami blesses the results and then the results are announced. I still remember this, you know what Swami would do? Because the pattern used to be, evening bhajan time or just before evening bhajan, results are shown by Vice Chancellor to Swami. After the bhajan, only it will be put up in the notice board in the hostel. Which means there's a gap before the results are shown to Swami and it being put up. But Swami has already seen the results. Seen as in, he's always seen it. But in inverted commas, physically, Swami's seen it. You know what Swami would do? We would be waiting for the results to be declared. Naturally, we would be very tensed about it. What Swami would do is, he would look at the results, he would start walking around because he's got some special information. And then he would come to each boy and he would start slowly leaking out the results. Even before it comes on the notice board. Now it so happened that there were two boys sitting next to each other. Both of them were MBA students. They were part of the School of Business Management, Accounting and Finance. Now, Swami came to these two boys and Swami said, I've seen your result. Now, I have to give you a little bit of background here. These two boys, out of these two boys, one boy was a brilliant person, brilliant student. He was expecting a gold medal. The other boy was a very mediocre student. He was not even sure whether he would pass. Now what Swami does is, Swami first looks at the boy who's a mediocre student, so-so student. Swami looks at him and says, I've seen the result. You have got O grade. Now O grade means outstanding grade. In Swami's institute, the highest grade is O grade. And Swami used to always say, Paravidya, Aparavidya, both are important. So you have to study well also, you have to get good marks. In fact, in his own sweet way, Swami used to say, you must get O grade. If you don't get O grade, Swami will not be pleased. If you get A grade, which is the next grade, then you are A for animal. If you get B grade, then you are B for buffalo. So Swami told this boy O grade and he couldn't believe it because he was not even expecting to pass. And then Swami turns to the other boy who was expecting a gold medal and Swami tells him, I've seen the result, I'm very sorry, you have failed. Now, this boy is devastated because he was expecting a gold medal. I mean, there was no chance he could fail. But Swami has seen the result and he is saying you failed. So both boys go to the hostel. And in the hostel, the results are displayed. And both the boys have a look at the results. Now, ladies and gentlemen, knowing the way in which Swami operates, can you tell me what exactly would have happened? Absolutely, the results were exactly the opposite. The boy whom Swami had said O grade had actually failed. The boy whom Swami had said failed had actually got a O grade. Now naturally the boy who was expecting to fail, but Swami told him O grade, so he was happy, but again he found he had failed, was disappointed. So next day he was sitting in the mandir, very disappointed, very devastated, and then Swami walked towards him. Swami came near him and said, you've seen the result? He said, Swami, yes Swami. O grade, no? Isn't that too much of him? Okay, O grade. No Swami, I failed. So Swami says, are you Papa, you failed? Okay, what course are you doing? What course are you doing? He said, Swami, I'm doing MBA. And then Swami asked, what is the expansion of MBA? Now, it's very dangerous when Swami asks you the expansion of MBA because in different situations, Swami has given different expansions for MBA. In fact, on one occasion, when he was upset with the boys, Swami is never upset with anybody. He pretends to be upset just to drive a point home, like our brothers say. In one of those occasions, Swami was very upset. Swami had said, MBA means Mad Boys Association. Now, God knows what MBA he's talking about. So this boy did not try any taking a risk. He just said, Swami, Master of Business Administration. But Swami said, no, that is not the real MBA. Now he did not have an answer. Then he asked Swami, Swami, you tell me what is the real MBA? what is the real MBA? And then Swami said, Bangaru, MBA means mind on Baba always. Mind on Baba always is the real MBA. Now it's not over, the story is not over. And then he said, in that MBA, you are O grade, he failed. Nothing which Swami says can be in jest. Now, brothers and sisters, the reason why I'm talking about it is because the first one, Kirtana, the first key, or the K, which is the key, incidentally, I think is, as a bhajan singer, if you want to stay away from the problems of bhajan dynamics, you will have to keep your mind on Baba always. Because I think that is the start point. Once that is done, naturally what happens is your mind cannot take anything else. It's full with him, so it cannot get into conflicts. And naturally, once it's full of him, you experience the sweetness, you will look forward to that bhajan session. So he said the first thing which a bhajan singer should try to do is keeping your mind on Baba always. How do we do that? There are 100 ways in which we could do that. But I'm just thinking, anything could remind you of Swami. There are so many things which he has left for us to think about it. You see a white handkerchief, you can think of Swami. You see a beautiful car on the road, you can remember my Lord traveled in the car. You see a Dove soap, your Swami used this soap. You see a nice perfume, my Swami uses perfume. Like Ramakrishna said, he said, "Oh Krishna, the Brindavan is still there. The sunset is still there. The cows are still there. The Yamuna still flows. But my Lord, only you are not there." But I think there are so many things that Swami has done. I think so many things he did. I even think he used the perfume just to remind us, because it was so special to him. Anything that Swami does was always for us. So many ways to keep your mind on him. Because if your mind is full of him, it cannot focus on anything else. So the first K is keep your mind on Baba always. Now let's talk about the next one, the E. Again, I'm going to talk about Brindavan, a beautiful incident from Brindavan. Again, an incident which happened in train. You'll notice this when you go inside now into Swami's mandir, if you've not been there before. You will notice that the moment you walk, you see outside, when Swami walks out of his mandir, the beautiful Trey Brindavan, bang opposite is a small garden kind of a thing where, I'm not sure whether it's still there, but there used to be a lot of deer and a lot of birds. And often Swami would walk out, he would walk towards the deer and he would play with it. In those days, what would happen is when Swami comes out, the students would come inside the Trey Brindavan compound, would not go near him, would just come inside the Trey Brindavan compound and just wait for him, while the devotees would be waiting outside for his darshan. So Swami comes outside, he goes straight towards the deer. So just for you to imagine, so Swami is sitting exactly, Swami was standing exactly like where he is standing today. Now you are exactly where the deer are. So what happened is Swami comes towards the deer and is in a sweet voice, Swami starts calling, "Deer, deer, deer." You can imagine that sweet voice again. "Deer, deer, deer." And the moment Swami said "deer, deer, deer," what happened is all the deer stopped doing whatever it was doing and rushed towards Swami. Now after that, what Swami did is, he turned towards his right. And who was standing on the right? The boys were waiting. The boys were waiting to come inside the mandir, the students. He looked at the boys and now started saying, "Deer, deer, deer." Now you must realize, the first deer which Swami talked about is what deer? D-E-E-R, deer. But the second deer which Swami is talking about is D-E-A-R, deer. Somebody was punning on the word deer. So Swami turned towards the boys and said, "Deer, deer, deer." But you know what happened? Nobody responded. Attention. And then Swami smiled and said something very profound. He said, "See, the four-legged deer responded to my call, but the two-legged deer did not respond to my call." Did not respond to my call. And brothers and sisters, the reason why I'm bringing up this particular point is because I think the second thing which all these things, let me tell you, Swami says you should only speak about Chipra to Chestara, Swami's first lesson. I'm not sure whether I'm 100% perfect on all this. I would only say, and openly I would confess, and Swami knows this very well. I'm only trying to learn these things, and I'm trying to learn that every bhajan session is a call from him, is an appointment. It's an appointment with him. Because I think if we remember this, if we remember that every bhajan session is a call from him, then you would not feel like not going for bhajans. How can you not? We are his two-legged deer. How can we not respond to him? So that is the second thought, the E. In Kirtana, I felt that we should always remember that every bhajan session is a call from him and thus an appointment with him. And I have underlined the word him because it is an appointment with him and him alone. Because often what happens to me, let me not talk about the others, is I believe I'm going and singing the bhajan for him, but after I have sung the beautiful touch, I slowly open my eyes half to see whether people are shaking their head. Are they impressed by the touch that I have given? I still do this, I confess. But I'm trying to remind myself that every bhajan session is an important with him. If you look at the guidelines, it says, do not bother about the impact that your bhajan makes on others. And I think we will be able to do that if we understand that every bhajan session is an appointment with him and an appointment with him alone. And we, as his two-legged deer, will have to respond to his call. Let's go to the third one. Remember, there's one more E. Again, let me tell you a very, very interesting episode. You know what happened once? I heard this from a brother, a Sai brother, a brother student in fact. He told me this beautiful episode. I believe that, again, amongst our students, there was one brother who was a very good composer of bhajans. We have a lot of them. And this brother too was a very good composer of bhajans. So what had happened is, a devotee had written a particular bhajan. He had composed the lyrics of the bhajan, the words of the bhajan, but he had not tuned the bhajan. So what he did is, he walked up to this brother, who was a good composer, handed it over to him and said, can you please compose this bhajan? Can you set a tune to it? This brother took it and said, okay, Saram sir, I'll try, but then he got preoccupied, so he couldn't do it, and days went on. The devotee kept on following up, saying, sir, can you please tune it today? He said, sir, I didn't get time, I will do it, and he went on. Now what happened is, one day when this brother, the good composer brother, when he came for bhajans, he found that that very bhajan which was given to him for tuning was being sung in the mandir. Which means somebody else had composed the bhajan, somebody else had set it to tune. So he was for a moment very disappointed, and the lyrics were beautiful. So he felt he had missed an opportunity. Now later on, when he got an opportunity to sit with Swami, he was telling Swami, this new bhajan which was sung today, it was actually given to me for composing. Is what he said. But there's something which he didn't say but which went on in his mind, and what went on in his mind is, if I had composed it, it would have been a better tune. He did not say it, but quite natural. I mean, he thought I could have done a better job of it. So he said, this tune was actually given to me for composing, but in his mind he kept on saying, if I had got the opportunity, I would have done a better job of it. The moment this thought crossed his mind, Swami looked at him, smiled and said, Bangaru, even if you had composed this bhajan, the same tune only would have come. Now, how do you explain this? Now, what this reminds me is, I want to remind myself that whatever be the bhajan, the source is inside. Because sometimes as a bhajan singer, I'm talking to myself now. I'm trying to remind myself about a lot of things. Sometimes, I have a tendency to think, this is a good bhajan, this is a not so good bhajan, this is a melody bhajan, this is a fast bhajan, this is a sarvadharma bhajan. It tends to happen, everybody wants to sing those melody bhajans, and you classify bhajans as good, not so good. And sometimes why I emphasize on this point is, when you don't get those good bhajans, that's why sometimes you feel demotivated, you don't want to come for bhajans. I'm not getting those good bhajans, I'm not getting number 1, 2, 3, why should I come? Anybody else can sing number 4, number 5. Or I start feeling jealous about the person who's getting those good bhajans and thus entering a conflict. And thus I try to remind myself that the source of all bhajans is Swami. I still remember there was a brother of mine who was seated in the veranda, who was supposed to speak in a festival the next day, a gathering. And Swami was trying to coax him to speak. He had never spoken before. And Sai Guru speaking is quite an ordeal. So he didn't want to speak. He said, Swami, no Swami, I cannot speak. So Swami is trying to coax him. This happened in the veranda. In the Prashantali veranda, Swami is saying, no, you speak, I will tell you what to speak, you speak. And they said, no Swami, no Swami, no Swami. Exactly at that time what happened is, Just before the bhajans, if you remember, in those days, you used to have the flute recital. The flute recital used to happen. Now, where would that happen? Was it in the parapet or was it inside the bhajan hall? Inside the bhajan hall, right? And where is Swami standing? Inside the bhajan hall or outside the bhajan hall? Outside the bhajan hall. So Swami is standing outside the bhajan hall next to a pillar. On the pillar is mounted a speaker, just like this. So what happened is that when Swami was trying to convince this boy to speak the next day, suddenly the music came from the speaker. But the person playing this music was inside the bhajan hall, right? So immediately Swami looked at the speaker, looked at this boy and said, "See Bangaru, the sound is coming from the speaker, but the source is inside." Brothers and sisters, I think this is deeply applicable to singers. The sound is coming from the singer or the composer, but the source is inside. And he is the composer. And I try to remind myself that every bhajan originates from him. So why should I feel bad if I get a number 4, number 5? Why should I feel disinterested? Why should I feel jealous and get into a fight with somebody who gets 1, 2, 3? The next one. Before I talk about the next point, we've been talking about bhava. And what do we mean by bhava? Bhava is essentially that ability to connect with Swami. Now, how do you connect with Swami? I'm talking about connecting with Swami because my next expansion of R is based on that. But before I talk about the expansion, with your permission, can I sing an excerpt from a small bhajan, if you don't mind? Can I, please? Okay, now I'll sing a bhajan which is very popular. I'm sure you heard of this bhajan. The composer is sitting, sir. I'm nervous now. I'm sitting. Okay, the source is inside. I'm sorry. Okay. Yes. So in fact, I'm in the midst of the real composer and the bodily composer. I mean, what a great opportunity. So let me sing this bhajan, and let me tell you how a bhajan like this can be an opportunity to connect with Swami. Because I think every bhajan session is an opportunity to connect with him, to converse with him, like one of our brothers so beautifully said. An illustration. Now, there are many ways of doing it. I drew this idea from a brother of mine called Ajnish Rai, who used to do it with one other bhajan, and I've tried to use that idea. Even sir gives us very beautiful illustration, Prakash Rao sir. So I have tried to create something similar. Now, this particular bhajan, Anandamaya Bhagavan, I'll tell you how we can make it a conversation with Swami. Bhavam is very difficult to teach, but I'm just throwing up an idea which you maybe could adapt. This Anandamaya Bhagavan can become a conversation with Swami, okay? So I'll tell you how exactly that. You have to use a little bit of imagination, okay? And you have to be a little mad like me, okay? So basically what happens is that imagine you're seated here, you're looking at Bhagavan, and you're in a very rebellious mood. Because with Swami you can be rebellious, he's your mother. So I'm very rebellious, I'm a rebellious child. And the rebellious mood, I sing the first line. Anandamaya Bhagavan, He Premamaya Bhagavan. Now there, what you're actually trying to say is, Swami, you are Anandamaya, you are full of bliss. Will you ever understand my problems? You are full of bliss. It's a very rebellious stance, but you can afford to do that with Swami. And you are hoping that by your aggression, you can tackle him. And do you think you can tackle him with his aggression? If you are aggressive, he is double that. So what happens is that toy does not work. Anandamaya Bhagavan, Hey. You notice that in the voice? Hey Premamaya Bhagavan. How will you ever know my problems? But he is not budging. So then I come a step down. And then I start request mode. Oh Bhagavan, Sai Bhagavan, oh Bhagavan, Sai Bhagavan, Anandamaya Bhagavan, He Premamaya Bhagavan. I've still not gone to a complete request mode, so Swami still doesn't budge. He's sitting like this. So then I start reminding about his beauty. Look at the verb. I remind Swami about his own beauty and it's about his own attributes. I say, Hey Karunanidhe Prabhu Sai Ram. Swami, have you forgotten? You're supposed to be the ocean of mercy. You're not supposed to be so strict like this. He still doesn't melt. And then I say, Premanidhe Dino Ke Pran. You're supposed to be Kripanidhi. You're supposed to be the person who takes care of somebody who does not have anybody. And that's me. And how can you not respond? Swami still does not respond.
And then I go to my next step. I come one step down and I go towards him. And remember, I am sitting here now. Now I have started crawling towards Swami. Swami is sitting here. I have started crawling towards Swami. I am on my knees. And now I have gone to my next step. I have started now appealing to him. Le lo Prabhu mujhe sharan lagado. Le lo Prabhu mujhe sharan lagado. But it's one of those days when Swami will not melt even for this. So he's still stiff. And then, dear brothers and sisters, I use my Brahmastra. You know what I do? I crawl up, go up the stairs. I sit right next to his footstool. And then Swami is there, very serious. I now hold his chin like I would hold my mother's chin and say, Mujhe daya karo Bhagwan, Mujhe kripa karo Bhagwan. And then he will have to melt because he is my mother. He might be Lord of Lords. He might be Guna Gambhira, but you know, he's got a weakness. The weakness is when the child cries, the mother has to respond. So this is just an illustration. I'm not saying this is the only way to do it, but I'm just saying, I talked about this point because the next point, R for me, is I think I should always remember that every bhajan, you should relish every bhajan as an opportunity to connect with him. Because if you relish every bhajan as an opportunity to connect with him, then I will never feel like bunking a bhajan. And when I come, I'll be completely focused on the sweetness that he is, and I'll have no time to pick up fights. Where's the question of conflict? I remember a brother very beautifully had posted in a Sai student portal, somebody has put up this very beautifully. He had said, talking about connection with Swami, he said, my Swami does not have a mobile number. My Swami does not have a mobile number, but I can still speak to him. My Swami does not have a mobile number, but I can still speak to him. My Swami is not on Facebook. My Swami does not have a Facebook account, but I can still be his friend. My Swami is not on Twitter. My Swami is not on Twitter, but I can still follow him. My Swami is not on the World Wide Web. My Swami is not on the World Wide Web, but I don't need Google to search for him because he's inside my heart. Because he's inside my heart. And bhajan is an opportunity to connect with him who's already inside my heart. And I think if I learn to relish every bhajan as an opportunity given to me by Swami to relish he who is already inside my heart, I think that makes me a better bhajan singer. So that was a few minutes more, brother, I'll conclude, almost towards the end of it. But I've got T, H, A, and A to go. Now let me talk about tea. But before I talk about tea, a small story. Now, this happened in Prashant Nilayam for a change. It was late in the evening, very late, about 8, 9 or maybe 10 o'clock in the evening. I'm talking about 10 p.m. And normally at that time, Swami would have already retired and gone to his room. And Swami had retired and gone to his room that day. But Swami came out. Unexpectedly, Swami comes out, and you know what? Because Swami had already retired to the room, lot of student brothers were already sleeping in the mandir, and most of them were in their night clothes, including lungis, pajamas, etc. And Swami had come, and they started following Swami with their pajamas, lungi, or whatever they were wearing. They didn't have a choice. Now, along with Swami was a gentleman who had come from Bombay, and he had come from a very famous company which was into manufacturing lights, and they were suppliers to institutions. Now, why had he come? Because Swami's birthday celebration was approaching. It was decided that in the entire mandir, they would put up very colorful lights. So he had come to sell his products. And Swami was the decision maker, the customer. So he was going around with Swami, and he was telling Swami, Swami, here in this place we can put lights. Here we can put lights. We can have wonderful lighting effects, Swami. We can have this lighting effect, that lighting effect, and so on. Naturally, as a salesperson, he promoted his product. Swami remained silent. And all this conversation happened in Hindi because the gentleman was from Bombay. At the end of the entire conversation, Swami stood silently for a minute, looked at this gentleman and said, "Tu kya lighting effects ke bare mein baat karte ho? About what lighting effects are you talking?" And then this gentleman didn't know what to answer. And then he said, "Tu Suraj ko dekha hai? Have you seen the sun?" "Yes, Swami." "Tu taron ko dekha hai? Have you seen the stars?" "Yes, Swami." "Tu Indradhanush ko dekha hai? Have you seen the rainbows?" "Yes, Swami." "Tu Chand ko dekha hai? Have you seen the moon?" "Yes, Swami." "Tu Suraj ko dekha hai? Tu Indradhanush को देखा है? तू तारों को देखा है? तू चांद को देखा है? ये सब मेरा लाइटिंग इफेक्ट्स है। तो क्या लाइटिंग इफेक्ट्स के बारे में बताता है? Now, brother, why I talked about this is in so many bhajans we say, brother sang a beautiful bhajan, Antar Jyot Jagao Sai. So many bhajans, Koti Surya Samatej Swarupa. चांदर सूरज तुमने बनाए, नदियां सागर तुमने बनाए, नदियां सागर तुमने बनाए. Imagine in that moment, I grow up to maturity where I start understanding the meaning or thinking about the significance of the meaning of what I'm saying. Wouldn't I sing better? Wouldn't I involve myself in the bhajan better? Wouldn't I relish the bhajan better? Wouldn't I come more often to the bhajan? And would my mind not be so suffused with this bliss that I don't think about anybody else in the world, forget fighting with anybody? So, I think this is this. Think about the meaning of what you are singing. I thought was tea, what Swami was. None of this is mine, brothers. This is just what Swami said. It's just that it fit into Kirtana. And maybe that's why Swami said, control nothing into Kirtana. Quickly going on to the next one. You know, let me recount a very beautiful episode which happened in Horsley Hills. Horsley Hills is a small hill station kind of thing where Swami used to take devotees. This was before Kodai and before Ooty and all that. So Swami had drawn with a group of devotees. Now Horsley Hills is a small hillock. There's a small circuit tower bungalow on top. You will know about this if you read Man of Miracles. And Swami used to stay there with the devotees. Now remember, because it is on a hillock, there's no water on the hillock. The water required for people to drink, bathe, etc. had to be bought from a lake which was there, a stream which was there in the base, in the valley of the hillock. Now how will the water come? There was no pump or motor or whatever. What used to happen is, there were two buffaloes. There were two buffaloes in the circuit tower building. They used to daily go down, pick up water, come up. And they would go down and pick up water and come up not just once, brothers, they would do it about 10-20 times a day. 10-20 times, imagine, taking water, going back again, taking water, going back again, they would do it so many times. Nobody had a clue. Nobody staying in the bungalow had a clue that the water they were drinking, that the water they were using, was actually the water brought in by these buffaloes. Now what happened on the last day when Swami was departing from Circuit House, from Horsley Hill, Swami asked all the devotees to be ready by 6. Everybody got into the van and they were waiting for Swami to come. Just about 2 minutes before 6 o'clock, Swami comes out, does not enter his car, goes, takes a U-turn and then goes to the back side of the bungalow. Now where is he going? There are two people who actually followed him and found that he had actually gone to the shed where these buffaloes which had brought the water were tethered, where they were tied up. And then these two devotees who actually followed Swami saw a sight which was unbelievable. Swami was talking to those buffaloes. And very affectionately, Swami was saying, Bangalore, manchi seva chesyavu. You have done wonderful service. Swami is so happy with your service. Unless you did this work, would we ever have got water? Remember, Swami is saying this. Swami has given water to so many villages. And Swami is saying, unless you did this seva, would so many people have got water? So I'm so happy with you. And Swami materializes Vibhuti, and then Swami drops it on the head of the buffaloes, and the buffaloes actually start weeping, tears of joy. Now the reason why I'm saying this, they say that I believe Michelangelo, when he was doing an intricate piece of carving on some roof in some church, it is so high up, nobody would even see. So somebody asked him, sir, why are you taking the trouble to do that carving there? No human is going to see it. And Michelangelo answered, he said, yes sir, I know no human eye will see it, but I know the eyes of God will see it. The eyes of God will see it. Like Ramakrishna used to say, he listens to everything. He listens to even the footfall of an ant. If he's somebody who can listen to the footfall of an ant, would he not listen to your bhajan? So next point is this. He never misses to notice your presence, or in bracket, your absence in a bhajan session. I think if I remember that, I would never dare bunk a bhajan session. But if we think my convener doesn't know, we think anybody doesn't know, I think that why should I go? Bhajans will anyway happen, bhajans will happen. Like Sir beautifully said, Swami's mission is bound to happen. The question is whether you want to be a part of it. And you think you're going to escape? You cannot, because I think he doesn't miss anything. He does not miss anything. He never misses to notice your presence or absence in a bhajan session. That to me is edge. I think if I remember this, I will never bunk bhajans. Going on to the next one. Now this again happened in Prashanti Mandir. There's a great devotee of Swami called Alf Tiedman. Alf Tiedman used to reside in the US. This account which I am going to narrate to you is described in this beautiful book called Loving God by Sri Kasturiji. In this beautiful style, Kasturiji says, Alf Tiedman flew from New York to Bangalore, drove from Bangalore to Prashanti Nilayam, and walked up the stairs to Swami's room. So in his own beautiful style. He actually walked up the stairs to Swami's room, and when he walked up the stairs to Swami's room, it was afternoon. And Swami was in his room apparently resting. But he wanted to see Swami. He had not seen Swami for such a long time. And so he goes and takes shows the audacity to knock at Swami's door, and Swami's door opens. I'm talking about Swami's bedroom door. And the moment Swami's door opened, he finds that Swami is seated on a chair, and right next to Swami was Kasturi sir. Now remember, Alf Tiedman is coming fresh from a travel. He's not even changed. He's directly come to Swami's home. And Swami seeing him, in inverted commas, after a long time. The moment he came in, Swami looked at him, Swami smiled and said something very unexpected. Swami said, Alf, you look very fit and fresh. Do you expect Swami to say this to you? You look very fit and fresh. But Swami said that day. You look very fit and fresh. Now Alf Tiedman was very surprised by this statement. Before he could recover from the surprise of the statement, Swami threw another statement at him. Swami said, how do I look? That's a very dangerous question. Now, what do you say? What do you say? A lot of lots asking how do I look. Now, which one of your forms are you asking about, Swami? Now, Alf Tiedman did not have time to think. So the poor man repeated the same words which Swami said. He said, Swami, you look very fit and fresh. And before he could recover from that surprise, a third surprise, how does Kasturi look? And now we got Kasturi sir writes that he tried to straighten himself because the other two had already qualified as fit and fresh. Now he didn't want to be left out. But since Alf Tiedman did not have time to think, he repeated the same words and said, Swami, Kasturi also looks very fit and fresh. Now after Alf Tiedman had said this, Swami said, Alf, I look very fit and fresh. You look very fit and fresh. Kasturi also looks very fit and fresh. I look very fit and fresh. You look very fit and fresh. Kasturi also looks very fit and fresh. Do you know why? Because you are all my reflections. You are all my reflections, and because I am fit and fresh, you look fit and fresh. Kasturi looks very fit and fresh. You are all my reflections. Now what is the significance? Where does it come in Kirtana? The lesson which I draw from this, Swami, is this. I think, Swami, I should always remember that you are in all. Now I should remember this in all circumstances. I should remember this even when I come for bhajans, and I should remember this when I am sitting with my bhajan mates. Because I think, irrespective of how much I am human, Swami, so sometimes, I know you're going to hate this when I say this, because you say, no, you are God. Yes, I'm a human trying to be God, Swami. Okay, let's arrive at a compromise. Now, in my effort to do that, sometimes it still happens, Swami, that I don't particularly like somebody. But Swami, I think if I remember this, I will not be rude with somebody, because somewhere I know that maybe I'm going to hurt. So like Swami says, Sarvadeva Namaskaram Keshavam Pratikachati, Sarvajiva Tiraskaram Keshavam Pratikachati. And insult to any vagueness to it, because we are all his reflections. And that I thought for a bhajan singer was, I think if I remember this, where's the question of conflict? If I remember this, where's the question of me feeling jealous when somebody has got a bhajan and thus feeling demotivated and going? Maybe when my brother, like you saw Sonam brother do this, when Koti sir was singing, I've never seen him so happy when he sings his own bhajan. He was so proud that Koti sir was singing this bhajan. Now I think it's a clear case where somewhere he felt that the basis of both is the same, that the same source is there within both of them, and maybe that was the reason for that brotherhood that was you saw a few minutes before. So I think this does really help, and you saw a working model of this sometime before. So I think, Swami, please help me to remember, always remember that you are in all, and that is my aim. I've just got NME to go. Now here, let me first sing a small bhajan, and let me tell you what happened when this bhajan was sung. I don't know if you've heard this bhajan. This bhajan goes like this. I request brother also to sing with me. Charan kamalam bhajare manasa sai janani navdunadaya charan kamalam bhajare manasa. Charana kamalam bhajare manasa. Worship the divine feet of the Lord. Now the next line. Now let me tell you, before I sing the next line, what happened. This bhajan was composed by a particular devotee who got an opportunity to sit with Swami during an interview. Swami granted him an interview. And in the interview room he said, Swami, can I please sing this bhajan I have composed it? Swami graciously said, yes. And Swami listened to this bhajan. Now the next line of the bhajan is, Tirtha Triveni Sangama Charanam Tirtha Triveni Sangama Charanam Tribhuvana Sai Mangala Charanam Sanchita Papa Vinashaka Charanam Sharanagata Paripalita Charanam Tirtha Triveni Sangama Charanam. His feet is the confluence point of the Triveni, Ganga, Yamuna and Saraswati. Brothers and sisters, when this bhajan was sung in front of Swami in the interview room, exactly when the lines Tirtha Triveni Sangama Charanam was sung, out of Swami's lotus feet flowed out a steady stream of water. Tirtha Triveni Sangama Charanam. Now the reason why I'm talking about this, I think one opportunity we should never miss, Swami, is this. And that's my prayer to you, Swami. Let me never miss an opportunity to recount your glory. The reason I'm saying this, I still remember when Swami used to send us for vacations. One is mind on Baba always. But you know, when I come to a bhajan session, at the time, if I again only talk about Swami's glory, I think it helps me in two ways. One is when I sing a bhajan like this, I remember, it triggers the memory automatically. Bhavams come, I release the bhajan and I don't burn bhajans. And because my mind is full of him, I don't fight with others. The other thing is that, you know, Swami used to tell us when he sends for vacation, he said, see, there's a pot, inside the pot there's water. Now, after some time, what will happen? All the water will go away. Because I'm sure you remember this. Swami is given the advice for ages, starting to every batch. Water will evaporate after some time. How do you prevent the water in the pot from evaporating? You keep it inside another vessel containing water. So Swami says that surround yourself with company which talks about his glory. I think inside, when you come for bhajans, I think if you have to talk something, it has to be about bhajans or it has to be about Swami. And I think we should never miss an opportunity to recount his glory, because if we do that, we will relish bhajans better, we will understand the meaning of the bhajan better, we will never miss bhajans, and we will never get into conflicts. Once a person has told you a beautiful experience about Swami, can you not abuse him? Very difficult. At least in my experience, I found it very, very difficult. So I think we should never miss an opportunity to recount his glory, and Swami, that's my prayer. And let me come to the penultimate one. The ultimate one, the last one, my favorite. Somehow, maybe because I'm in Brindavan, I'm in the Brindavan mood. So till now I was talking about the right-hand side. Let me shift to the left-hand side. Now look at the hostel. This hostel has been blessed so many times by Swami's visit. Continues to be blessed by Swami's visit. Let's not talk in past tense. When Swami walks into the hostel, it's very dangerous because you don't know where he'll go. On one occasion when Swami walked into this hostel, he decided to go straight to the kitchen. He walked straight to the kitchen. And in the kitchen that day, the cook was making a special sweet preparation because it was Thursday. Because Swami's command that Thursday and Sunday, boys meet. I am one of those people who put on weight in a hostel. How many people lose weight in a hostel? In fact, my mother used to say, Swami spoiled you by giving you good food, I am not able to match up to Western lips. So they were making sweets, a special type of sweet, and I still remember the sweet which was made that day was called sweet puri. Sweet puri. Now, I have not heard of the sweet anywhere else. I think it's Swami's own creation. The sweet puri, just for your understanding, is it's like a normal puri, which puri and bhaji you have the puri. So the material is like puri, but inside there's a stuffing of coconut and jaggery. You know, in South they make this modak kind of thing, the sweet stuffing. You know what it's called in South? It's called purna. That's that puran poli you say. Purna. Yeah, same thing. So it's called purna, the coconut jaggery combination concoction. So the process of making this is you take the dough, and then you put the purnam inside, and then you fold the dough, and then you put it into the oil, and then fry it and take it out. This was happening when Swami came. So Swami came to the cook and said, Nenu chestanu, I will make it. So the cook had to move. Swami then takes this dough. What Swami is supposed to do? Take the dough. Step number 2, put the purnam in. Step number 3, fold. Step number 4, put it in the oil. Correct? What does Swami do? Step number 1, take the dough. Step number 2, fold the dough. Without putting in the purnam. You have to put in the stuffing. No, he doesn't put in the stuffing. Swami directly folds it. Now the moment the cook saw Swami doing this, he thought as an expert he must advise or caution Swami. He said, Swami, purnam petalidu Swami. Swami, you have not put the purnam. And immediately Swami looked at him and said, hey, Nur Musko means shut up. After that he must stay away. Because a message was coming. A message was coming. So what he did is he did not put the purnam inside. So it was just the dough. He folded it and then he puts it into the oil. And then he starts frying it. And then he takes it out. He waits for it to cool down, and then he hands it over to the cook and said, now open and see. Now the cook breaks it open, and surprise of surprises, or no surprise if you know Swami, when Swami put it inside, there was no purna, but now there is purna. Purna was not there when Swami put it inside. But then now purna was there. And then Swami looked at the cook and said, Bangaru, always remember, whatever Swami touches will be Purnam. Whatever my Swami touches will be Purnam. And I think that is the last A for me. I think if I remember that a life touched by him will always be Purnam. And when I say touched by him, how does my life get touched by him? When I see his glory. And when I realize that a bhajan session is an opportunity for him to touch me, and because of that the life will be Purnam. Purnam in what sense? I think like Sir in this bhajan is very beautifully said, Iha para sukadayaka sai. It's not just, I think there is one Lord who says, you want material? Yes. You want otherworldly? I'll give you both. Iha para sukadayaka. Swami once said that you are all MS students, so you feel very proud because MS is a very good title. But then Swami said, don't feel proud. MS means March, September, March, September, March, September. You write in March, fail, write in September. Again you fail in September, write in March. Punarapi Jaranam, Punarapi Maranam, Punarapi Jaranam, Punarapi Maranam. But Swami, I know that like Sir very beautifully explained, like Sona Brother very beautifully explained, I think if I take a bhajan as a sadhana, it is equivalent to Ashtanga Yoga, and I can realize this very goal of life. No more March, September for me, Swami. No more March, September for me, because a life touched by you, Swami, will always be Purnam. And bhajan is an opportunity where I expose myself, Swami, to your touch. And I think if I remember this, Swami, I will never miss a bhajan. I will never get into conflicts. Because that will distract my attention from you, Swami. Why should I care about everything else? So, just to do a quick recap, I think Kirtanam is this. Keep your mind on Baba, always. For every bhajan session is an appointment with him. In fact, it's a call from him. Every bhajan originates from him. There's nothing like a good bhajan, bad bhajan, slow bhajan, fast bhajan, melody bhajan, not so melody bhajan. Relish every bhajan as an opportunity to connect with him. Think about the meaning of what you see. And brothers, these are not for you. This is just for me. This is just for me. It's a recap for me. If you are listening to it, it's incidental. But I say this only for me. He never misses to notice your presence in a bhajan session. So remember, anybody else might visit, but then Swami doesn't. Swami, let me always remember that you are in everybody, so let me never pick up fights. Let me never feel jealous when a brother of mine gets a better chance or gets to sing a better bhajan. And if he's singing as good as me singing, never miss an opportunity to recount his glory. And finally, Swami, let me remember that a life touched by you is always Purna. With these words, Swami, I offer everything which I have said at your lotus feet. I have no clue whether what I have said is right or wrong. And honestly, I don't care. I don't care because, when Kalia was dancing, Kalia Mardana, Krishna was dancing on Kalia. I believe Kalia kept on spitting poison. And when Krishna asked him, I am putting my lotus feet on your head and you are now spitting poison. And then I believe Kalia responded by saying, he said, Lord, the only thing that you have given me is poison. So what will I do? I am going to worship you with this poison only. So I have no clue what I have said is right or what I have said is wrong. The only thing I know is, if I have stood here, it is His will, it is His grace. Everything is His property. I am not going to say the mistakes are mine because I have no right for that also. Because in the scheme of things, I think there is no right and there is no wrong. With these few words, thank you so much. Please pardon me, Jai Sai.
doesn't own anything. But there is a Sai in me which says that I have to say a few things. And Sai says that we should request Ramakrishna to do some little extra effort. And I've told Brother Ramli also to see that he gets all the help. I wish that he pens down every story, linked to every sentence which he has said, and all the points come in a small little thing we should share, because I don't know what that we've said, how to reach it to the millions and millions of bhajan singers all over the world. But I think this is one opportunity of divine grace that has flowed through his mouth, should reach every other devotee all over the world. And I think we should do it. I think the third is homework is Ramakrishna to do that, and through Ramakrishna this whole document, or whichever form that you think Rameswar thinks appropriate. But I think this is a good thing that should go to all bhajan singers all over. Do you agree? Yes or no? Yes. Sure? Yes. In my typical style, please put your hands up. Sisters, good. I think that's nice. Congratulations and thank you very much, Ramakrishna.